So many guys out there have a skill that most men don't even have, that they dream to have, and that's ambition. The drive to want to achieve goals, not just settle for average in life, but build the attractive physique, have high quality relationships with friends, family, and girlfriend, and soon to be wife. And on top of that, make a boatload of money. And they don't just want one of those things, they want all three in unison. But it seems like no matter what they do, no matter what actions they take, no matter how much work they put in, those goals just always seem to fall out of their grasp. And the reason why this topic resonates with me so much and why I resonate with these guys is that I used to be one of those guys. 3 years ago, I was in rock bottom, right? I was going after my dream body. I wanted to start a business, but I just didn't know what. Every single day, I was waking up feeling purposeless. I was waking up after 4 or 6 hours of sleep after going to bed like so late because I wanted to work on my music business at the time. That wasn't making any money or making any sort of progress to. It was all very inconsistent. Scrolling my phone the second I woke up because I had such low energy. And overall, I just feel like no matter what I did, no matter how much time I spent at the gym, no matter how many days I spent at the gym, I just couldn't build that attractive physique that I wanted. And of course, was not attracting girls. I was very lonely at the time, very poor social skills. It was at the kind of like height, kind of like towards the end of COVID. So I was on campus at my community college, but there wasn't a lot going on. And to top it all off, I quit the sport that brought me so much joy, so much passion throughout the day, that when I quit that, I felt like nothing, because my sport at the time, that was running for track and cross country, and I made that my entire identity. And looking back at it now, it wasn't just the community that I missed. It wasn't just like the goals and setting and stuff like that brought me fulfillment throughout the day. It was the structure that I missed at that point. It was the structure that it gave me. Going out to practice daily, showing up to something daily, making some sort of commitment that I had to go to. Having that structure on my calendar allowed me to like achieve these goals that I had for myself. Like I felt super productive when I was doing a sport, but now that I had so much free time at that point, I felt like I had less time than I did before, which was crazy. So what brings ambitious guys from their stuck states to achieving the goals, doing what they want to do in life, and living the life to the fullest, and living that purposeful life every single day of high energy, is simply by adding structure to their life. What really helped me out was making a calendar and time blocking things out. From the time that I woke up to the time that I went to bed, I always had priorities on my calendar that I added in. And the priorities I determined by asking myself the simple question: exactly who's the man that I want to become? What habits does he do? And what changes do I need to make in myself to become that man? And after asking myself that, I wrote down my answers, and it became clear to me exactly what I needed to start to do daily. What actions are going to move the needle forward, and what stuff do I need to eliminate about myself now that are holding me back? So things that are holding me back, like scrolling my phone the first hour, waking up at inconsistent times. So I changed that by adding structure to my life. I started waking up and sleeping around the same times, going to bed by 10 and waking up by like 7, 6. Instead of letting life control me, I started taking control of my own life, and that was powerful stuff. As the more I followed the schedule, the more aligned I felt. And the more aligned I felt, the more the man I started to become, and the more purposeful, more like myself, more authentic I became. And overall, I started finally making progress towards goals I didn't think were possible. I always had doubts in myself. I didn't even believe myself, because I honestly didn't deserve to believe in myself. I wasn't making progress towards my goals. I was making all these promises and not keeping them. But the second I had structure, it all just felt so much easier. I felt like I was actually making momentum, and that was powerful stuff. I started to build this unbreakable momentum towards my goals, and it felt like I just couldn't stop. All because I had a calendar out, which is crazy. I didn't think that it was that important. And you're probably watching this now thinking like, oh, how is a stupid calendar gonna fix my life or put me on track towards my goals? Trust me, it will, because when we don't know what we're gonna do throughout the day, we end up wasting time. Like my client, Rain, he's a gamer, and instead of me saying that you can't play video games, as he's had issues in the past with that taking up all his time, and he's even said it himself, killed his energy, I simply told him, mark out times on your calendar when you play the game. It's like, 2 hour, 3 hour time blocks. Like think about like it's like your deep work session. Like if you think about deep work, it's when you fully focus on like your productive tasks of the day with no distractions. That's what I told him to do with his video games. So like you're gonna grind hard, play hard with your friends and stuff like that. And ever since implementing that, he's starting to more focus on his workouts, getting more consistent with that, getting better with his diet and all these different habits. And he's starting to finally lead himself like the man that he wants to become. So if Ren can do it, if I can do it, you can totally do it as well. You can start building that momentum up, getting that structure down, putting those habits into your life, and just executing. Because without execution, this is all meaningless, right? You can have a piece of paper up and look at it and be like, oh, I'm so productive. But if you're not actually taking action, if you're not actually executing on this, then you're just wasting your time at this point. And you are lying to yourself, thinking that you're being productive, which is the worst thing you can do for yourself. The reason why you're stuck is because you're making promises to yourself and you're just not keeping them. Your promises are your goals. And if you're not making those goals, every single day you're lying to yourself. So after 365 days of lying to yourself, like year after year after year, what do you think that's going to do to your confidence, right? It's probably going to, definitely not going to raise it, right? I don't think I'm some like genius who has to tell you that, but it definitely didn't. That was pretty much like the case with me as well. Like my confidence was at all-time low because I just didn't believe in myself. So an action step for you is right after this video, make that calendar, write down who's the man that you're becoming and exactly what habits, what goals, and what changes do you need to make to become that version of yourself, that high performing version of yourself, right? And once you start following that pathway, every single day, you're gonna wake up feeling purposeful, having high energy, enjoying the life that you're creating. Like every single day right now, I am loving the life that I'm building. I feel like this is the life that I wanna live. Even like a couple months ago, I wasn't feeling that. Like sure, I was building up the business, but I was working a 9-to-5 job at the time too, and it wasn't bringing me any joy. Showing up to a spot that I didn't feel purposeful in. You ever have that, like a little bit like a tangent here, but do you ever have like that voice in the back of your head that whenever you're doing something, like maybe you're staying up late, or maybe you let someone disrespect you, you don't say anything, or when you're just not doing something you should be doing, you get like that guilty voice that's telling you like, dude, like what are you doing right now? Maybe you drank a lot and the next morning you wake up with like a huge headache and that guilty voice is in the back of your head telling you like, dude, like you're gonna feel like super unproductive the next day and you can't get your goals done. No, just me? All right, whatever. But when you have that voice, that is the voice that you should be following to a T. That's like, I don't know, like maybe that's your gut feeling, but that's how I know if I'm on the right path or not. And that guilty voice, that almost never comes in because I'm doing the right stuff. I'm living my life through structure. I'm doing the right habits. I'm making the best use of my time. And by following the steps laid out in this video, where you're building that structure, building out the calendar, and living your life in alignment, you can too, and you will 100x your progress towards your goals. All right, hope that helps.